I know that there's going to be a lot of eyes drawn to different regions, different teams, but specifically, I want to point out going into this, the conversations around 17 and 4 angry men. I know that there's going to be a lot of fantasy, a lot of points picked onto these teams. I'm very curious on how we're going to see this evolve out. Specifically, as you were talking about the, I guess, less happy or less angry 4 angry men.
Yeah, as we were watching 4 angry men come out, because remember, that is now half of the championship winning team of New Happy, right? And so HSMM and Xiaopian are now on that team, and they looked kind of like 4 somewhat happy men.
I guess it's balancing out, right? Yeah, you're 50% new happy and then 50% still old and angry. So at least now they're starting to get some therapy and starting to work it all out. As the playing path's going to be coming pretty friendly for everybody. We should be a decent idea on how most of these drops are going to be coming into play. So we're going to be coming in right off of Tai Lu, and I know a lot of people talking about Shen.
This Malaysian superstar, this young gun he's probably on every fantasy roster. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, he's on mine as well, and he is just an absolute machine on that team of Tai Lu.
And speaking of, we're hitting all of the conversation points right now. We got ourselves a little ghost that we saw just a second ago. Na'Vi, I know also a lot of eyes drawn towards it. They're going to be landing around that Minas graveyard area. As we are seeing the push come out into the west, it looks like we've got maybe a touch of Twisted Minds DK that might be bumping into each other for a vehicle, but no, it looks like they're going to go ahead and get the inside route on that with DK, and that's going to force the one member, I think it's Perfectix, out and kind of back down south.
And so far, yeah, we've obviously been watching what's been happening in scrims, which really isn't an indicator of what's going to happen in game, but no hot drops here. We see, look at this circle, circled right around, centered right around El Azahar. And that is going to be very interesting considering none of these teams are really in the circle, but really I'm looking at that road in the middle, that ravine. We talk about it all the time. It's a very difficult place to play.
Death Star Trench coming out the west side of Azahar kind of makes for its own massive demarcation area, right? Because if you're either going to be playing the north or the south of that, but with as much of the circle still being the east, you have some very interesting pathings in that Badlands area that's going to be kind of close to Junkyard, or you can kind of cut up along that very far east against the wall and get over there next to, like, what is it, the electrical towers and stuff like that, and get some good pathing.
Yeah, and I'm very curious to see which teams are actually going to go for a more northern rotation. Obviously, Sarvem will be all the way up there at Bronca, and they can potentially rotate in, but Petrichor is going to be right behind them as well. And so, as we see Theraton, they actually have a pretty good position here to maybe hold out some rotations. I doubt they'll kind of do that as they're pretty spread out, but overall, yeah, this is going to be an interesting circle. Most teams will opt to probably rotate in on the north or either come in on the south.
Just like in business and PUBG, location, 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 as we are going to have GP and FaZe already inside the circle with a smidgen of Na'Vi down in southwest. But with this, Kirexi already doing a good job of getting control over the northern part of Death Star Trenches. We're going to be looking at that. Na'Vi also has a couple of their members, because you can see that Minas Generalis is technically inside the circle, but it's right along that cusp position there. So we also know the fact that they're probably not going to stay there for too long, is a lot of our early movements coming out. And yeah, you can see Kirexi already getting a very strong position in the circle.
Yeah, and Kirexi is going to try to hold that as long as possible. That is going to be a nice little town and a dip there just north of the trench you're talking about. And so I'm sure FaZe is going to consolidate as soon as possible there. We also see Game PT actually with a really nice position there to the north of El Azahar. They can actually hold that and cut off a lot of rotations that would be coming in from the north. So I would love to see them try to employ that and just get those early points, right? Group stage, you want to get as many points as possible. Make sure that you're making it at least in that top 8.
As we're looking at this, there's a lot of different ways that you can try to opt into playing it. The general north-south locations that we were talking about a second ago, but later rotators are also probably going to be coming in directly into the trench and playing some of those low area compounds. If you do commit into the lower area of the trench itself, you're not going to get a lot of kills, but it can kind of get you into some safety positions into the later game, provided you can get out. That's always the problem whenever we look at this location, is it's going to be teams shooting across from each other on the north to the south side. Specifically, the south side also is more elevated, so has a smidgen more vision to look down on what's going to go on.
Yeah, but the problem with that south side becomes, Matt, when the circle shifts off, then you have to get off of that hill. It becomes a big, oh, look at this, example, and Duck Juice right on top of each other, just on the other side. First shots, who's going to be the first knock of the event?
50% on both sides of it, looking through, looks like Example feels he's got the vibe on this one, moving in, dance around the rocks, hasn't spotted anything yet, does see it, Rock's going to eat a lot of it, but he still has some ammo to work with, 12 bullets. Is it going to be enough? And it looks like he's going to try to back down just a moment. Reinforcements coming in on both sides of it, but it's going to be mostly TE coming around, and it's going to be Example going down first.
And Duck Juice is going to find that first knock. Tanvu as well here to help. Booba in the background trying to desperately just put some cover fire on there, but Example is going to get flushed, and the first frag of the event has been seen.
While this has been going on, we also did have, it was a couple of rotations over into the east. We were talking about Shin just a moment ago. They've got some vision on what's going to be coming in, as well as 17 that are going to be backfilling into the position that Na'Vi just left. So it looks like the damage done, though. That's about all of the commit we're going to see. Just one kill, and with that, TE in first place right now.
Yeah, and you saw that Na'Vi wanted to support Example as much as possible. Uba just to the south, but you just got to cut your losses. And I was talking about that confidence. That's going to be huge for the Expendables. Getting the first frag of the event, having all 4 members up. That could have been a hairy situation, and now they're going to be able to rotate further in.
Yeah, TE also coming in, doing a pretty wide split across this road that's just going to be to the east of Minas itself. Potential trap locations that they could set up and spot out a couple of things as the rotation's coming through. TL also doing a bit of a split, as it does look like people are leaning into kind of that more southeastern area, and that's no surprise. This is just easier to navigate and rotate out of, as it does avoid majority of Death Star Trench. But the reason why we were so focused in that conversation, circles just go there. It's like a magnet.
Yeah.
It's always where in-game ends up at, it feels like.
And when those circles do go there, again, it's so difficult because you have to, as an IGL, you have to choose which side you essentially want to gamble on, right? Because if it does shift to the other side, getting to the other side of that trench is hell. It's very difficult, and you generally do lose quite a few players en route. So we'll see if it does end up shifting there. Obviously, most of the team's still in. Petrichor still rotating in from the north, and then even have Forest just going for a very, very long rotation there north of Oasis.
I mean, we also did see SRM come in from the north. While all this was going on, our Azahar team in GP did step out and also did manage to get a crate. I didn't spot out exactly what they managed to pick up, but we've seen the impacts of a couple of P90s going through the qualifiers to get through that. So
that gun is disgusting.
An early gun picking up. And again, I don't know if that's what they picked up yet. We'll have to see as we monitor through. Our teams on the outside are still what? Petrichor Road, we've got Forest doing their wraps like you were talking about. Twisted Mind in no rush. And then we kind of got a cluster around that Pozo Nuevo area.
Yeah, and then D plus K, I mean, they're rotating in late, but the latest team to this circle is either going to be Forest going all the way around Oasis, or you have Falcons, right? They're still very much on the west side of this, and they are just taking their sweet time. They will be able to rotate in on the south and find a good position there, but I do worry, especially if this shifts north, that they're going to have some trouble rotating in.
And this is a very important circle, specifically we're talking about emergency pickups. We've been talking a lot about the different locations and rotations and how they can be so difficult. An early game pickup could be massive to get you across what could be an absolute bloodbath if you have to make one of these more terrible rotations. Might be one of, we're seeing a lot of these teams play a bit more to the south, as it is going to be starting taking some shots and just getting territory control. Nothing crazy.
Yep, just to the north of the center of circle, they're just going to be, peacocking a bit, just make sure everyone knows that they're here, and this is not a good target as far as a crash or any sort of rotation. And CC and Global Armor from Sarvi, or Sarvum, excuse me. Oh, Hush is actually going to find a shot there, but yeah, they're in a good position. They just need to make sure they're not taking too much damage, as Uba and the Expendables are still continuing this fight from earlier.
This is a very, I don't want to call it a fight, because it's more just like, they're just kind of like walking up and like slapping one and then retreating back away, and then the other person like walks up. It's just a continual kind of disrespect moving between them, and I think that they might be done again for right now. We'll see if, well,
yep.
No, 777's now coming in, so who knows?
But that slap earlier from the Expendables was much bigger, as they did take out a member. They took out Example of all people from Na'Vi, an absolute beast of a player, and so they're still just very comfortable here to kind of harass, and they should be. Yeah, they're on the south side of this circle. There's really no one behind them except for a duo there of Tai Lu, and so they're really going to be able to kind of spread out and try to either get a knock on Uba or just take complete control of this side.
Uba can defend up in this position, but it looks like he is going to retreat back, and I think that's
I like this.
We do have 17 that's just to the west of this, so if he needed to get reinforced in the middle of the firefight, 17 could have moved forward, cut off those reinforcements. So just discretion, step in, and again, it's just a lot of I guess, banter between these two squads still.
Again, I really do like that consolidation there of Uba. Obviously, Mel and Alia were there to kind of monitor that and just make sure he can get out, because Expendables were eyeing that compound, definitely wanted to take it from them. And now they have a nice split there with the compound and 777 just to their south.
Coming in, we do have Petrichor Road that's going to be coming into the north. A couple of eyes are going to be drawn onto them. Outlier teams past that are just going to be Forest. We've got Cerberus that's going to be coming in, DK, as well as Falcons to the south.
Yep.
Teams that are known for rotating late, so no big concerns, and this is an early game still. And as most of our action has been in the southern Azahar area, as yes, Na'Vi and Expendables, that's where they've been at, but Also, where most of our just kind of hello bullets are coming out of, right? Like, hey, I'm here, don't crash this, it'll cost you something.
And we saw that from Sarvam, right? Just trying to take shots. And sometimes we see that with a solo player or a duo that's in a compound and a split, just to sound much more threatening than they really are, especially if it's solo. You hear one set of shots. We have seen teams try to take advantage of that. Look at this. Byro actually, yeah, spotting that rotation there a little bit from Petrichor, but they're just going to go right by.
Directed follow-up.
Excuse me. That's Teraton, not Petrichor.
They're all so similar in color. We got all the blue teams stacking up over there into the north, as is wont to do. Let's see, coming in back behind this one, we did see most of the circle still stay on Azahar. So there is the potential of an Azahar finish, but highest likelihood we're going to be shifting into that southern hillside. So specifically Na'Vi and the Expendables who were doing those skirmishes earlier going to be rewarded for that. Our late rotators also going to still have some space to play along. But the teams that were playing closer to Death Star trenches, we can see right now, 4 Angry Men, Theraton 5 over here. We also do have Twisted Minds and Batula and the rest of the crew that are going to be trying to path over here as well. It looks like they did manage to get about 200 to 300 meters away from the edge of the zone, so there's still some play room over there.
I really, really cannot stress how much I love this split coming out of 4 a.m. Having a duo in that trench, as you said, and then kind of betting a little bit in Azahar as well, just on the west side, that's going to be very strong if this circle shifts either north or south, or even just pulls away, because they'll have a really good foothold to rotate further in.
Let's see, Kia making the rotation in right now is it's getting a little bit clustered. They're going to be pathing between the two different sides of the 17-2-2 split. They've got themselves that dip. They can start to hear the firefights that are going to be going on. Navi's taking some pot shots into them as well, but it's still going to be a comfortable enough dip that they can stop into right now, and it doesn't look like anybody's going to be crashing along this angle at the time.
You say comfortable, and it is for now, but as soon as this circle shifts, look how central all these teams have already started to get as far as their rotations. Just betting on the south side. A lot of teams actually have kind of settled to the south of Azahar. As Sarvam as well is going to be, I like this rotation actually coming from them. They've gone all the way to the east side, and they've now got themselves just below LG.
But it's happening the exact same time that LG is starting to expand their presence, as Rello is starting to move into the south, and could be kind of a gate-kept position depending on how we see this go. But looks like they might just be content to stop in here, just play right along the edge. Falcons also coming on along this path. Maybe we'll have to see how their approach vector is going to be coming in. Most of the other teams look like they're eyeing more to the north, which is kind of open, except for T5, who left one of their members back and are presently harassing Cerberus on their approach.
Yeah, I'm also looking at Twisted. I really also like Twisted's position here. They're on the west side in that massive compound. They're going to see that it's pretty much open. There's a couple warehouses there, and they're actually going to have so much western control, which is going to give them a lot of confidence. And the last team you want to give confidence, I promise you, is Twisted Minds.
This is true. This is 100% true. Going back into this 4 a.m. split you were talking about a second ago, I love this, because if this does come to Azahar, that line that they have with those two members are going to be so crucial in making sure to stop anybody that's going to be flooding down that hillside. Well, we're not getting an island circle. We could see if this goes Azahar, you know, if you see people ever get an island circle, it's running down that hillside just into an onslaught of bullets. We could see a smaller version of that if people need to make the push into Azahar from this angle.
And I can tell you from experience, fighting in Al Azahar is kind of a mess. There's obviously the roads that intersect there on the sides, but there's so many buildings that you have to clear, and then just getting to the north side, if that is where it ends, is a pain. Crossing that main road, we've seen teams get shredded in that approach multiple times, and so it's a tricky city to fight in.
Looks like we've got another crate that's also going to be dropping on, I believe, GP in their location. So already got one. Going to go ahead and pick up a second one, as now we are getting in skirmish range. You can see it is going to be Tyloo pretty close.
Oh, and it does center on Azahar. Oh, my. And as you said, and then we're talking about 4 a.m., it is a great position now. They're going to consolidate those last two members, and they're going to have a very strong position in the city, and everyone is scrambling now. The south side is going to be a mess, Matt.
The southwest is a death funnel. We've got 17 Gaming as well as FaZe. They're going to be pushing in where DK's at. Na'Vi, remember TE, we saw them just a moment ago. Twisted Minds, Cerberus, all doing a long rotation up into the north. LG is going to be doing the same, hopping inside their vehicles. But remember, they had SRM next to them just a moment ago. They're going to get sight lines on each other in just 1 second. I mean, my eyes are still going to be drawn in, as 4AM is actually abandoning that southern defensive line and is moving just directly in. We've got DK that's get vision on 17 Gaming and now taking a couple of pot shots, but this is in the safe zone, just right on the edge of it.
Yeah, for now it's in the safe zone, but all these teams are going to have to fight on the southwest side. 17, D plus Kia, Na'Vi, as well as it looks like, the Expendables, and now look who's finally joining us, Falcons.
Emergency airdrop coming into play. It is going to be TL that's trying to jump over Azahar. That's going to be the shots that you're hearing distance. No! Longs gets hit by a long-range shot. He's already down and out. FaZe trying to defend this one up. Lost one, but looks like they should be able to get the other three into position.
I'll tell you what, though, losing one with that emergency pickup is not bad at all, and still keeping Shed alive is going to be huge. FaZe Clan coming off the south side of that, also trying to set up an Azahar so they don't have to deal with those major road crossings. And look, Falcons getting in a fight with the Expendables and a knock coming from Capitan.
Just directly pushing into this position. They want it. Remember, Expendables were kind of dealing with Na'Vi, so they were separated out, and that was exploited by the Falcons coming in. Capitan now gone down based off some nice shots onto this, but TE not wanting to stay in this position for too much longer as they do have some hesitation with Na'Vi. Na'Vi is playing for Circle, though, so separated out. Falcons providing some support, but you can see it's really just trying to shoo as many of these members as they can away, most notably Duck Juice, who's going to be playing into the west, as the rest of the Falcons are just trying to make a full-on approach and breach this building.
And they want to get this fight done as soon as possible because they don't want to be stuck on the edge with the next circled post. And as we saw, it was, I think, Emmy just worlds away as he was providing some overwatch here for his team, but Tan Vu in such a good position to be a menace as he's kind of rotating around, and Delwyn as well just on the top side of that ridge.
I like this. Delwyn, I think, that moved into the north, spotted out what's going on with Na'Vi, realized the fact that they have some pathing to work with, so Tan Vu doesn't have to make the commitment into the defense. They can surrender it, stepping out. Yeah, see Delwyn taking those shots into Na'Vi right now, so good read on the circle, realizing how the rotations are coming in. As our teams presently are DK, Theraton 5, who I believe lost one inside their rotation coming in, 4 Angry Men, FaZe, and TL.
FaZe's position, the way they split that, the way they even got in was just very impressive, but as we see all these fights, how Twisted Mind's caught in a fight now.
Ooh, right along this hillside, nade's going to be prepped. Is it going to land on the outside of the rock? Good roll, come in, hit some damage. Oh, nade takes him down. Twisted Mind starting to get in their vibe. They already lost Spiral in this position, but you can see Cerberus realizing that they need to play this a bit more aggressively if they want to try to defend up their teammates. Going in for a quick res, or a little bit of meds, but it looks like the res trying to come out on the opposite side. Perfectix reads it. He goes down. Follow-up's going to be coming up for Twisted Minds, playing low, trying to use his teammates' information. Spots out, trying to go for flushes. There is no cover. Cerberus is just entrenched into this. Hisaki finally takes some damage and have to step away, but it's going to be Batulins lined in and trying to see if he can take out the last bit of Cerberus, creeping in slow and steady.
And I know he wants to get that res. I don't think it's possible. He's just trying to fight this out. He knows there's Nox. He's going to back up a little bit. He is the last member. And what a recovery here from Cerberus. They're able to get 3 members of Twisted down. It is just Batulins backing up.
That rock is MVP right now. Batulins trying to go for the spray. Too many targets. He's gonna go down. Circle did pop while that fight was going on. It still has Azahar in it, but shifted up into the northeast.
And what a fight, but now their prize is to get into this. Look at this circle. It is so wonky. It is actually shifted to the northeast of El Azahar. And a lot of teams already set up to kind of take advantage of this. Petrichor, one of those gifted by this circle.
Oh yeah, that was a nice rotation coming in from them. They've got so much control in this area over here. You can see 17 now trying to navigate in, but they're going to be coming in kind of that northwestern area. Pretty open. Really, it's just going to be 4 Angry Men taking some shots in, but they can't really move. 4 AM, I mean, inside regards to that, as they have T5 and FaZe that are close to them. So we're kind of looking at our hillside teams trying to rotate in and get more comfortable, while our Azahar committed teams just kind of stuck there for now.
Yeah, Luminosity just kind of picking apart the rotation coming in late from Falcons. Again, they had to deal with that fight from the Expendables, and they're just flipping all over the place. Snaker's now taking shots over towards Draft, and Emmy flipped as well. This is very dangerous.
Car's already smoking. It's not going to take too much more to get some damage, or maybe a car flip out of it. DraftKing reads it, steps away. Emmy already headed for the hillside, being like, nah, man, this is not working. We got to get out of here. LG's sitting at 1 kill right now, but there's the potential for a couple of more as DraftKing is just kind of pinched into this. As I like this from LG. Just go, okay, you know what? We're already so close to the zone. Let's just go ahead and keep it instead.
And this is exactly what they were planning on, right? They actually stayed outside of circle here just a little bit. They knew they had a clean rotation in, and they were just going to hold out whoever came in. And unfortunately for Falcons, they were that team. And so 4 up still, they just have so much control. They'll be able to go up that hill later once they clear out this south side. They will have to worry about Na'Vi, though, because they will have sight lines on the back ridge that LG eventually wants to play in.
Miles getting taken out by 17 in their defensive position. The rest of Cerberus do have some vision on what's going on, taking some shots into Zhao Wu. We also do have Suju. It's going to be rotating in from the north. That might be able to get a nice flank into Cerberus.
Oh, what a nade from Xiaobei.
Oh, connects in. Isaki in some trouble. See if we see the nade go up. Just a bit short, but this is going to be up into the northwest, so don't have to be worried about shot from behind at least. I'd be more concerned about the directed push right up into your faces. Is that what it looks like what Xiaobei's going to do? Goes for the spray and picks it up, and Cerberus is out.
And the circle has, this is such a just disgusting circle. If you're in the city, you are starting to worry. If this shifts away, getting up that hill is almost impossible, especially with a team like Petrichor up there getting ready to start to center up on that hill. But 17 doing an amazing job on the northwest.
They've got a new set of company that's going to be coming out as Forrest now making the wrap in, as also Duck Juice has managed to kind of creep his way over here next to 4 Angry Men, and you know they're not going to like that. I think that they have a pretty good idea. You can see that they're all scouting into that. Suju is feeding over information to the rest of 17 as Forrest has stopped. This isn't in the safe zone, though. So instead, they're just trying to make sure that they get Juju out. Nade's not going to go in the doorway like they wanted it to. So really, he's just kind of got to defend up and give time for his teammates. If anything, this is a sacrifice in allowing reposition to set 17 up perfectly.
Yeah, as you can see, I mean, the two members there of 17, Xiao Bei and Xiao Wu, are watching over Suju, but he's not quite out of it yet. Scappy trying to find the nade in the building. They don't realize he's actually on the outside of it. And this is really not that great for Forrest. As you said, Suju kind of being that anchor for them, not necessarily sacrificing himself. He does also have the jammer, so he's going to be able to sit in a blue for a little bit and kind of harass this team.
Yeah, and you can see what angle are you going to try to approach from. The other two members of 17 got good defensive lines, and while this is happening, Petrichor Road is just to the east of what's happening. Oh, this is being so sneaky. Look at this. He's just holding down. Is he going to get a vision on it? Takes some damage, but he at least scares him out from real life. Got to step away. He's going to go down. Defensive line and shots not going to be enough as the knock did come out. Scappy is down, but...
Xiao Bei was knocked too, actually.
Yep.
That's not great at all for 17. This is a big opportunity here for Forrest to potentially move up.
We got Munzo that's going to be over there to the north, playing along that hillside. He's the one that kind of opened up. He's got the keys to make this one happen. But while this is happening, Petrichor Road is hearing more and more and now starting to take shots into it. Forrest realizes they don't have much time to work with. They're just making the commitment in. The res does come out from 17, but they have got to be careful. They've got this ridge line. At least it's safe.
Yeah, the ridgeline is safe for now, but Forrest is definitely going to be pushing down very quickly. They realize two of them are left. Scappy is actually going to get knocked from Ake's left. Off in the distance to the north, and now, yeah, Petrichor is going to be coming alive as they hear these shots, and they're going to want to third-party this as quick as possible so they can clean up these kills.
They also do have SRM that's back behind the Petrichor, so they have to be very careful. With the Limbus trying to go for the spray in, it's not going to connect the way they wanted to. Smoke's already down, and it's going to be 17 just trying to cling to life. This is a squad you've got to be careful with, though. Whenever they start getting lowing arm members, they almost get madder and madder as they go. They're just going to step up the hillside, get the knock on to one of them, and suddenly Forrest finding themselves a bit more pinched than they would like. Petrichor being far more aggressive with it, and another follow-up from 17.
And 17 is just not giving up quite yet. Two knocks now on the side of Forrest. Scappy now just trying to get the nade. Xiao Bei is so low, but they're going to get finished. He's going to find two more, but Forrest has to deal with Petrichor.
They're just flooding into this one, but Forrest is holding the line just barely right now. So outnumbered, they're going to go down, and now Petrichor has all of the north to play with.
That was still a very solid game, though, coming out from Forrest, coming in and taking the fight to 17, pushing forward. That's going to be a little confidence building, even though they went out early. But now it's time for LG to make their approach. Again, they were on the east side of this. They had just taken care of Falcons, and this is a difficult rotation. Teams aren't either going to see them if they are on the south side of that hill, and they still have to deal with what's on the top, which actually isn't much, but being center early is not great on this circle.
Yeah, this southeastern area is very peculiar. Specifically, you were talking about the hill heading out of Azahar is very, very open. You can see that's kind of what we're eyeing right now, as SRM is going to need to be moving into the circle a bit more, and that's going to be to their eastern position, or to the left is what they're going to be looking at. Presently, they're just looking directly into the south, taking those shots at GP. As LG hears this, it might be coming in back flank into it, and there we go. It's going to be a quick exchange between the two. GP trying to make their push up this hillside, but it is just so hard.
And that was a really nice steal coming out from Flood. Again, you want to get as many points as possible. 5 kills already on the side of LG as they're now holding on Game PT. Oh man, there's so many teams just stuck on the southeast side.
Oh, that nade just did enough to finish off the tail end of D+ Kia. And so now SRM is going to take a second, probably get a bit of a reset. Keep in mind, we also do have Emmy alive from Falcons, hanging out in the shack, hoping that nobody bothers to check it for a little while, but that's going to be about it. We do have GP probably going to feed this one over to the blue zone. That's no surprise. Yeah, you can't step out, right? There's just, you're dead either way, so why give it to either one of these guys that's just kind of screwed over your game?
And I'm looking at Tai Lu, the team that sent it with that emergency pickup. They're still in. They only lost one. They haven't done too much damage, but the important point is that they're still still alive.
Ooh, blue zone nades coming out, gonna make their Ton 5's life really tough. Lou getting pretty low on life there, manages to take it through, but they're just walking through right now, sitting at 6 kills. They've just been urban fighting for so long right now. FaZe hears this, they're gonna shift a bit more to that southeastern side and just let this fight kind of happen. They're gonna instead focus on what's going on in the hillsides. They just wanna take out whatever happens after this.
And now making this push, HSMM, realizing that that member of D5 is in the smoke. That's actually Hatswat in a very, very interesting position. That's not an angle that you're used to clearing, especially because most of the smoke is covering the doorway, but he has full vision of that.
All he has to do is just listen for the footsteps, and he can just make some type of play. Oh, instead, I like this. Kind of abandon it out, realize the fact the numbers aren't going to go in your favor. LG is going to get eliminated on that eastern front as they were kind of caught out in the blue with what was going on over there. So Hatswat just kind of tanking this one for the time being, letting 4 angry men continue to be angry, but at least not right up on top of him, giving him some space. SRM now making their push into Petrichor Road, who did venture into this direction, and a bit more of a 2-2 split, and that's going to cost them one of their members.
Yeah, Sarvam is making a great push here. They've actually survived so long on this hill, fighting multiple teams, doing wonderful to stay alive with 4 up, most importantly. And look at this shift, Matt.
You know that hillside we said was going to really suck to have to deal with? Voila! That's where we're all going to be going towards the end of this one. So Petrichor Road and SRM needing to make sure that they take care of what's going on up here in the north, because it is not going to be cozy. How the commitment comes out is going to be the more awkward situation. As remember, FaZe has been kind of taking some shots at this one. Oddly enough, Tai Lu, our sneaky team that kind of jumped into the thick of this, has been the ones that have been finding a way to kind of edge their way into the circle yet again.
And they're crossing in. All members now have actually made it into the circle. FaZe as well, very aware of that. But Tai Lu just continuing to try to move forward and get as far north or as far center as they can.
Vehicle sent coming out from SRM. They're just going to jump right up into the face of Petrichor. They've got the numbers advantage. FaZe also taking some peppering shots into the side of it. You can see Tai Lu in their approach that they made just a moment ago. They're trying to get away from FaZe. They've got that wall force of safety. They have a phenomenal position and a very awkward circle. You can see it's just going to be the wall eating all of those nades as out in the distance, Uba still eyeing what's happening over here, and those 4 angry men still seeing what's happening. We've got blue zone nades coming out. Middle with a nice pickup. Both sides reading through, and it is just a massacre over here. Petrichor Road rolls up, defends in, and they've got the hillside.
What a disgusting play coming from Mill. That triple with the nade and then the single shots to make sure he hits the headshot. Beautiful stuff. Petrichor going to have a wonderful position now. The only team on the north side, the only team on the hill. But Tai Lu, as you said, have managed to get in probably one of the best positions, if not the best position in the city.
I hope that Dr. Suleiman Al-Habib was watching that, as we did see one of the Petrichor members pick them up their other down member and run them to safety. You want to avoid the sight lines coming up from FaZe, so good read into that. FaZe Gustav, though, trying to hold the defensive line to make sure that the 4 angry men can't come out, but this has been a very sneaky, quiet Uba over her for a very long time.
Yeah, Uba's been alone for quite a while, but he is at least in the circle, and he can take his time here. He doesn't need to force anything. If anything, a fight that happens between 4AM and FaZe could be a big point opportunity for him, but look at this. Nade's getting closer, and 4AM getting much, much closer than Uba would like.
He's just playing this one patient. You can see both teams kind of caught up dealing with each other. He's just hiding out in the shade of the bullets right now, seeing whenever it is the best moment to strike. FaZe Clan moving more aggressively into this, getting very close to Uba's position, but it's going to be Petrichor Road that's taking a couple of shots at range. Blue zone nades going to slow it down a bit.
Oh, he didn't see.
I don't think that he saw it, but it's going to be Summer that gets the knock. So Uba's still not quite having to reveal himself, but Summer already knows. He's taking the shots, and Uba's just stuck there.
And he didn't want to shoot. He didn't want to go for Correxy, give away his position. But as you said, Summer already knows. And so Fex now looking for where Uba could be.
Slow, steady goes for the spray and hits the box instead. That box paying up big ways. Uba just kind of bouncing between different positions, narrowly surviving. But we do have the blue zone that's going to be moving in, making it much more complicated. As the longer that this stays an edge fight, it's just no good for any one of these 3 teams.
No, not at all. FaZe trying to move up as well. Like, they have to deal with 4AM. But really the problem is Petrichor. They have that northern position. They have the hill, and they can just rain down. I'm not sure if they necessarily have the greatest cover there from potentially Tai Lu, but we'll see. They do have vehicles to use there as HSM is trying to get a knock on to Fex and just get rid of one of the last members of FaZe.
We were talking about how much it sucks to fight around Azahar. Here's your example. It's a 2v2v1, and it is seriously next door neighbors just getting explosive with each other. Uba's going to try to make the move out. Looks like Lou has already got the read onto it. If the pre-fire doesn't come out, it's just going to be a send down for Petrichor Road. Lost one of their members. That's going to be TL, still trying to defend up. Nade's going to go too far. At least two of the members managed to make landfall, but now FaZe distracted by this. Everything's just getting more and more clustered. Uba, 4 angry men, the outlier on this one, trying to survive. Mil's going to go down. Petrichor Road is out.
And Tai Lu, they have Shen knocked. 4 AM on the west side of this, just trying to fight something. Fex, so much damage.
Tai Lu unrelenting over here. Everybody's just caught up in this firefight. 4 angry men still picking up more kills as they fight their way in this one. Finally touching the safe zone. FaZe down below them, and we are dealing with 3 members up for TL, kind of, with really just trying to commit into the res. Potential of the 2 members for FaZe and 2 members for 4 angry men, and it is just a triangle of destruction waiting to happen.
FaZe has recovered here a little bit, though. This cross is what I was talking about earlier. It is very difficult. Fortunately, it is Tai Lu trying to recover, but it's going to be HS on the other side of this, just trying to deny that cross or trying to deny any cover. Gustav now trying to look for an opportunity as well.
TL kind of gets to referee this at the time as they've got more control over where that center dot is going to be. It's going to be at their back, so everybody's got to come to them. That's why Gustav is making this really sneaky play. He's separated out, left Fex back behind. He's trying to creep into 755X. Know this. Stepping in. Utility was out. The flash is going to come out. Good pick up. Gustav just spins it back around, trying to go for at least a flush onto this. He is now revealed. While this is happening, Fex trying to hold back 4 angry men. Is going to take down Jowlo. 4 angry men out, but FaZe in a world of trouble. Just 1 up. Looking into 2 members of TL as TL trying to get a read on exactly what's happening.
This is a 1v2 though. Gustav can win this, especially if they give him the opportunity. He goes for the flush, so he'll get that point at least. And he's actually going to cross. I don't think they saw that.
Oh, that was so sneaky, making the jaunt across into this one. TL keeps their eyes back down into the south. They should now finally be realizing how the setup's coming into play. Gustav looking at, gets a lot of damage over, but has to dodge out the nade. Creeping up this hillside. It looks like now he's starting to get more and more control over the center dot position, but he's got to be careful. Takes a lot of damage. He goes out, and Tai Lu picks up our first game.
What a heroic attempt there by FaZe in the end. They were trapped in that city for so long, fighting against 4 angry men, fighting against Uba. But it was Tai Lu with the emergency pickup to get in that position to win that game. That was incredible.